the story of a Nigerian American woman navigating through this thing called life. All right, y'all. We back at it again. Another week. God is good.
All the time.
All the time. God is good. Welcome to another episode of The Unmet Expectation. I'm your girl, Yasunde, in the building with my FAM BAM. Hey.
It's lit.
Hey, episode number 4 is about to be a litty episode. I have my little cousin in the building. I'm going to call this episode LEPA Lifestyle.
I like that.
Miss LEPA, she is a chef. She is a stylist. She's an educator. She has an online boutique. It's a LEPA lifestyle.
It really is.
Shout out to Shay in the building. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you.
Thank you for bringing me here.
I'm so excited. I've been wanting you on. As soon as I was like, I'm going to do this podcast, I was like, I have to get Shay on. I think you're so dope. I think you're so funny. And we'll get into that later. But what I like to do initially is a mood check.
Okay.
What space are you in mentally? Let's talk about it.
Right now, I have joy. I definitely have joy. Just life has just been so good. Definitely a lot of peace. I have peace. And I have some excitement because this is very exciting. Like, I'm happy to be here with you. And that you even asked me to come because I'm like, I mean, I know I do stuff. And I'm like, okay, like, she wants me on her podcast.
Yeah,
I like that.
You're multifaceted and educated. Like, you have so many dimensions to you, and that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about that journey. So you're in it sounds like you're in a space of gratitude.
Yeah.
I think you and I are both in the same space. Oh my God, like, every morning I wake up, I'm like, God, thank you. Father,
yes.
I thank you, because that's just the space I'm in as of lately. And we'll talk about our spiritual journey later, but yeah, in a space of gratitude. It is called the Unmet Expectation Podcast.
Yeah, the real part of life.
The real part of
the
life.
real part of life. I mean, you can't. I mean, really, we expect so much, and just knowing that God gives you whatever's meant for you, it's like a big thing. I feel like.
Wow, that's deep.
So yeah.
So throughout your life, what have been some of your unmet expectations throughout your journey?
I have so many. Like, to be quite honest, like, college was there. I knew, like, you know, being Nigerian, like, oh, you have to go to school. But I was over there, like, doing fashion. And then my parents like, what is that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you need to get your degree. And I was like, I kind of didn't want to get it because, like, I was just enjoying just building my brand, like, styling. Like, you know, like, I was, like, in Atlanta doing stuff during college, and people were like going to class, and I'm like, well, that's not what I want to do. But
you have a passion for fashion.
I literally I had a passion for fashion. I just love styling. I just love clothes, and
look at her. Look at all
I mean,
I said, hi. Okay, excuse me.
You know,
looking frumpy, Shay up here looking fly.
Nothing too right. I said, we're gonna podcast. Yes. Let me get myself together.
Caring, skinny.
You know,
you're looking good. Like a tackle. Hey, please. Come on.
Yeah.
So, my expectations pertaining to like school, that wasn't what you wanted to do ultimately.
Yeah, but then again, it's like I thought, like, you know, I went to school. I was like, I want to be a lawyer. No. When I started taking classes, I said, no, this is not for me.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna like physical therapy. That's cool. But then I was like, in the process of all that going on, there were certain things I didn't really enjoy. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. And then again, I had my passion, right? Like, I was so focused, like, I'm gonna be a stylist, you know, like, I want to just create. Like, I think college was like a big part of my life where like I was creating so much content and in ways that were like, it was so natural for me. Wow. Like, out of nowhere, you know what I'm saying? Like, why am I so passionate about something like this? You know, like, I was
like effortless.
Yeah. And that's what was something that was big to me. Anything that I feel like comes easy and natural is meant for you. Ooh. Like, you don't have to like stress about it. And that was something I even learned. I still say that to myself, like, if something is getting like, not that's hard, right? Because things are going to be rocky, but I feel like if it gets to a point, I'm just like, things are not making sense, or like God is like kind of like, no, like pushing me away, or things are not happening, that is not for me. And then I had expectations upon that were surrounding, like, I want to do this, and God was like, no.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
Yeah, so that's so interesting you said that. Yesterday I was on Instagram scrolling, and I came across the quote, and I thought, like, this is to a T, and it's so true. Whatever's meant for you won't come with confusion. It comes with clarity. God brings clarity, not confusion.
Yeah.
So if we can kind of, if things are getting too confusion, things aren't making sense, the dots aren't connecting, maybe that's not for you.
Yeah.
Like, it shouldn't be that complex. God is not a complex God. He brings clarity. He brings vision. If it's not of that, it's not of him.
Yeah. And that's a hard pill to swallow too.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you think your life is going to go one way and it's not going that way. And like, what am I going to do now? But the great thing about God is that something else is going to come. It just not coming in how you expected it. But if you, like, I literally pray, like, I pray for exactly what I want in order. Like, I have a prayer journal. Like, I pray and I read. What is unbelievable? But God is unbelievable.
Yeah. But
I really wrote down everything exactly what I wanted in 6 months. I showed my sister. And I said, this is why I don't play about God. No, seriously. I was like, no, Yetunde, like, literally, like, you can't make this up. Down to how much I wanted to get paid. Yeah. Yetunde, I can show you after this. I literally told my sister, I said, look at what I wrote last year. Look at what I wrote. And look at where I am now. To the dollar amount, that's God. To the dollar amount, yesterday.
Because he doesn't play about his kids.
I mean,
he doesn't play about us.
Like, seriously. And I was like, I didn't know it would be the job that I have now, but I'm like, I prayed for that. Like, I prayed for this is how I wanted my life. And like, instead of moving with our own expectations, move with God's expectations. Ooh, that is what I really had to pick up.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying earlier. I was just like, hey, I'm just in the passenger seat with my seat on. God, take the wheel.
Because, like, literally, like...
the wheel. Like, I don't have any control over this.
Yeah.
I don't have any control over this thing called life. And once you put it in his hands, he's going to make it beautiful for you.
Every time.
Beautiful for you. Every time. And it surpasses your expectations.
Look. Definitely. That's why God's never like, don't play with him. It's never low level. It's going to be exactly where it's going to be exactly where you need to be. Because I feel like at times, like, we feel like we should be so up and it's like, no, God has to humble you. He has to put you to move with purpose. So even if at that time you felt like you're above something, you weren't above it at all. Like, that is where you needed to be at that time.
His timing, not yours.
All the time?
His timing, not yours.
All the time.
And that was the word that I got this morning. I woke up around 3 and I wrote that down. Yeah. Timing. And it was like his timing, not yours. And that, if you can understand that and really put that into your daily habits of like, okay, God, just kind of, I'm just here. All right. It's a little bumpy, but I know you got me.
It gets very bumpy, very rocky, very chaotic.
Yeah.
It gets crazy.
It gets
really crazy.
Yeah. So do you have any other expectations?
Yeah. It's like, thinking about it now when I said this, I was like, how unrealistic. When I was like in my early 20s, I was like, I want to be married by 27. Then
27.
It's just like, now I'm like, be for real. Like, let me be serious. Like, as I was getting older, I'm like, you kind of say stuff and then it's like, you don't really know what you're saying.
You don't.
Like, I said that, but it's like, thinking of marriage to be so simple to be married by 27 was very unrealistic, but I did expect to be married. But then around marriage, like, my thoughts weren't as clear as they are now. Like, I wasn't as aware. Like, I didn't know what goes into it. Like, those are just things I would say. And I had friends that were married. You know, like, I have friends that are married, but it's like, for me personally, it was not that time.
And that's okay. I think that comparison is the
thief of joy.
So you can't compare yourselves to anyone else. You can't compare your life, your situation, your journey. Because your journey is yours. And I think if people hone in on that a bit more and focus on themselves and their journey and don't look at it's difficult to get sidetracked. But if you focus on God, you focus on your journey, things will just unfold so beautifully for you. And you'll be like, wow, God's timing, not mine. He's the driver. You just put those little sayings into your day to day, and things will just flourish for you.
They do.
Yeah, like, and it's always easy because I think right now, because I'm in such a space of gratitude, I think I'm kind of in la la land at the moment. To be honest,
it feels like it, right?
It's really, really good, and I never want to come from this space, but life is life, and I know things aren't always going to be 100% great, right? But we're still in a space of gratitude. Being married at 27, that is something. I think I wanted to be married at 29 and have kids before 30.
That is still my mind too, right? I was like, before 30, I want to have my first kid. And it's like, still, it's not aligned with what God told me to do. No. That's not what he said for you. Did he send you? I said no. But funny enough, me working with kids, I feel like I have children. They're not my blood, but those are my students are my kids. I call them my kids because I'm there taking care of them. I teach them, I nurture them. So I mean, things come how you say it can come in different ways, right? So,
and I think that teachers are so underrated, and I think they need to be given a little bit more accolades, and they work hard.
Yes, ma'am.
Your teachers are with your children a huge lump sum of the time.
It is crazy.
It's crazy, and they're not giving their flowers
at all.
I'll give you a flower before you leave those freshmen.
I literally think about it all the time, and I said, I mean, I wasn't a terrible student, but I'm like, no. The stuff that I do, like, I don't sleep. My work comes home with me Monday through Friday, even sometimes on the weekend, because like there's so much I need to do. There's so much I want to do for them. Then you have like kids that are like really struggling. Like, how can I help this child? Like, what can I do to, when I teach my lesson, like, what can I do to help them? You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to really think about that, because
you're a good teacher, though. All teachers are
equally. You know, to be honest, yes, but like, I mean, yeah, because I always think like when I was going to school, like I had like maybe like 3 teachers that I remember that really sat down and was like, when I was struggling, that really took their time to help me.
Wow.
And that's what's instilled in me, right? Like those 3 teachers that sit down and tell me, even to college. Yeah, like I graduated because my advisor was she called me, like I was not going to class, and she called me. A college professor called me, and she was like, what's going on? You're not coming to class. And I was like, who is this? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That was my college. In college, to have someone care about you like that. She made sure I got my internship. She sat there. She wrote my recommendation. Like, she really worked with me. Like, she made sure I was going to graduate. And, like, she still calls me.
That's so nice.
She still calls me.
You mentioned that you wanted to go into PT, like becoming a physical therapist. Yeah. And it's so funny that you worked with in that arena.
I did.
So there's some synergy there.
Yeah.
You didn't even like know
what was gonna be. Yeah.
What it was gonna be. Wow, that's so interesting. Just hearing about how multifaceted you are. We talk about education. We talk about fashion. Let's talk a little bit about your online boutique, and like I know that correlates with the fashion aspect.
Yeah.
But can you talk to me a little bit more about LEPA Boutique and how that came about? And then we'll talk about the boutique, and let's talk about the name LEPA.
Right.
Let's talk about the boutique first.
So, like I said, like in college, I just started doing styling, right? So I would create shoots. So I would go to like the thrift store, like get some pieces, or like go to like different consignment shops, get pieces to put together. I mean, in college, you don't have money. I mean, I didn't have money. Some of y'all might have money. I didn't have money, okay? I didn't have money, so I'd use what I have to like create these shoots.
Yeah.
And then it got to a point where like I was styling so many shoots and I had so much clothes left over. I'm like, what am I going to do with these clothes? Like, I already styled somebody. I'm not going to wear it. Like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And so I was like, the thought of I'm going to all these consignment shops and buying stuff. Why can't I sell these clothes too, right?
Yeah.
So that came to me. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to sell these clothes. Because first of all, some of them were like really nice pieces, like one of a kind pieces that I'm like, I can't just give this away. So I created an online boutique, and with that, like, it was also surprising too, because I have good taste. I believe I have good taste. Okay, I have good taste.
Like a bag
so
today.
People were like buying stuff, and I let them know it is consignment, right? So like, fast forward like a year, I started like to design. So I'm like, okay, now I want to start designing my own clothes. I want to move away from consignment, because, you know, people want new clothes too. Like, how am I going to market to audience like people want new clothes? So I ended up, you know, like learning, like, you know, wholesale and like where to buy from, and like I would before even LA, I used to go to New York. I used to that's basically 8 hours, 4 hours on the bus to New York to buy some stuff and bring it back to Maryland. And I was doing that. All of that was in college. So beside me having classes, taking tests, just driving, like trying to figure out, like, I know I'm so passionate about something. All of that I just started to put on my website, and you know, like, I started to do my own shoots, and then being a stylist, it made it easy, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't need anybody to do the work. I just need the model.
You want a name drop? Have you styled anyone really cool? Come on.
I mean, I'm not gonna say, but you should go to lepastyles.com.
Okay.
And you should go through my category that says styles.
Yes.
To really see. Okay. I like when people see, because I've styled a few people that when people go on my website, they're like, wow, like, I didn't know you're putting in work. Because one thing about me, I'm always working. Shout out to Forever Working. I'm always working, and I don't always upload everything, right?
Yeah.
And then sometimes I assist style. So even though I assist style something, that doesn't necessarily mean like I'm the main stylist, but I was a part of like maybe like a really dope shoot.
Well, that's how you learn. Too.
Yeah.
If you're paired with the best of the best, that helps your creativity as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Level of creativity. So that's pretty cool. Okay, LEPA style. So and then LEPA kitchen.
Yes.
So LEPA kitchen, I need to put in my order for the salmon, crab,
spaghetti. Yep. The same as, I mean.
That thing looks so good.
It is so good. It's very good. Like, I don't see that on anybody's menu.
What can't you do, Shay?
You know, I thank God. One thing I always tell people, right? God doesn't just give you like one gift, right? I hate when people feel like, oh, I'm just I could be like, I'm just a stylist, but I'm over here cooking like really good. I'm over here, people are coming to my house eating my food, and I'm not cooking like basic stuff. People are enjoying it. Like people speak over you, right? They say you should do stuff. You should cook. You should cook. When I started cooking, I was like, wow, it was very easy for me. Like I was getting customers, and I wasn't like really even promoting like that. I was just like, oh yeah, I cook. And I'm like, no, you cook. And I'm like, yeah, but I didn't take it seriously, right? Yeah. The moment I started taking it serious, like, things were just coming to me. Like, I was getting opportunities, and I'm like, I just sat on something that God gave me. Because maybe not everything, right, is going to take you there, but where you're supposed to be and where God wants you in this season, like, okay, you're going to cook this season. This is about where you're going to be, right? Yeah. But had I just sat there, I'm like, oh, I'm just a stylist, I wouldn't have had the opportunities I had now. No. Not even that. Even my skill, like, just me, every time I cook, like, my skills get better. Yeah. I come up with new things to cook. Like, I made a lamb chop stuffed with crab meat. Yeah. Wow. So good. Lamb chop stuffed with crab meat, yeah. Like, you know, I get creative, and I'm thinking, like, there's so many things you can do. Yeah. Like, don't just think because you have maybe your degrees in engineering and you're like, oh, I can't be a photographer. Yes, you can.
I'm claiming this for your brick
and mortar
LEPA kitchen.
Look,
a brick and mortar LEPA
I was thinking
kitchen.
that. I told my mom, I'm like, you can work in the back. I was like, you can work in the back. Because my mom, you know, she was throwing out too. I'm like, you can work there too.
That was the next, I was going to pivot to that. Where do you think that passion for cooking came from? You and Lola can cook.
Yeah.
You guys are really good cooks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My mom, and even my dad, like my dad, he doesn't even know how much he influences me. Like, he literally, like, I'm not gonna lie, like on Saturday I'll be sleeping and he'll wake me up and like, go sit down in the kitchen and help your mom. And I'm like, do what? Like, I don't cook. Like, why do you want me to be down there and help her? And he'd be like, go sit down. My mom, I'll be peeling onions, I'll be seasoning this, that, and third. Then as I started to get older, you know, our moms like worked a lot. Yeah, so like now you have to cook for yourself. I started cooking for myself. I'd be like on watching shows and I'm like, oh, I want to make that. So I'll try to recreate it, like, and then it just became like a thing, like just having like my parents try to show me how to cook. Because they always like, if we're not home, how are you going to eat?
Yeah. So let's get back to, we were talking about cooking.
Yeah. How
passion for that.
Yeah, and how like my parents like were like played a big role in me knowing how to cook and stuff like that.
So yeah, the parentals definitely were the driving force behind you learning how to cook, which is great. Because I wish I was more like that. I wish I was that way inclined. Like I like to love to cook. I don't really love cooking. I cook and I know how to cook, but that part of me is a bit lazy.
I get lazy
too. For some reason, I don't really enjoy it that much. I can throw down though.
Yeah,
when I do.
I know. Cook, but let me even stop you right here, right? I remember when I was younger and I had to stay at your house that one time I went to school, like in elementary school. Okay. I had to stay. So you made these garlic herb wings. I still recreate those wings. That was like I remember, and they were so bomb. And I was like, I remember, to this day, I still remember those wings.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, when I was in elementary school.
And I do make a nice little wing.
Yeah, so. Those were fire.
I make really good wings.
So when you do cook, she cooks good.
Yeah, I do. But LEPA kitchen for sure.
Yeah.
I'll definitely place my order when we're done recording. Let's talk about the word LEPA and the origin of LEPA and its meaning and how that's kind of transcended from just being that word to being kind of your brand. Let's talk about it.
So, you know Zach and King's mom? Auntie Helen.
Auntie Helen.
She used to always call, I mean, obviously LEPA, like in like Yoruba, like in Nigeria, even just in Nigeria, they call LEPA. It's really like a cute skinny girl, very fashion. She's a very extra girl. So I don't think it was just even skinny because it's just more to it.
I think it means like thin. You're just
just thin girl. Yeah, basically, right? And she always call us like lepa. Every time she's like, hey, lepa. And I'm like, all right, like it's just stuck in my head. And I'm just like, when you're naming a brand, because I was closed, right? It was closed at a point in time. And I'm like, like anybody that was like called lepa was like usually like a fashionista, very stylish girl. So I was like, that's how I was like, okay, I'm gonna name it Lepa Styles, because not only that, like finding a name for a brand is hard, right? I searched, there wasn't any LEPA anything. Wow. So I'm like, okay, perfect. I want to have like an original name that comes with a story. Like my style did come from, I've always been stylish. I've been recognized by my auntie so much that she calls me LEPA.
And she's super fly.
And she is fly, y'all. Very fly. She ain't got
no girls.
I mean, and she really puts it on. She puts it on, and I feel like she gave me a good name.
Yeah.
And so I used it.
I agree.
And I always tell her, because even when she brings up like my business, she's like Lepa. She's till this day she still calls me Lepa.
Lepa.
So that came from her, like just being called. You know how you have like a childhood nickname.
Yeah.
That transcended into a business name.
Yeah.
And so
it's a lifestyle.
It really is.
Multifaceted. It's not just fashion.
Yeah. Cooking. Now it's cooking.
It's educator. It's everything. It's all encompassing.
Yeah.
It's perfect for you. Perfection. So Lepa, let's talk about, you recently moved back from LA. Let's talk about let's talk a little bit about your time in LA and then the driving force behind you moving back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I always wanted to go to LA. Like when I was in high school, like it's funny that my dad brought this up to me. He remembers I wanted to go to UCLA. And I was like, oh, I want to go LA just because, it was sunny. They had beaches.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I've been living here all my life. I want something new. Like, I always want to try something new. Like, I'm always into just trying new things. So I was all right. When I graduate college, because my parents been begging me, I was like, I'm going to graduate college for you guys.
Wow.
And then I'm going to go do what I want to do, right? Yeah.
That's a typical Nigerian thing.
Yeah.
For your parents when it comes to education. Unless you're really, not saying that we don't have a mind of our own, but a lot of times the driving force behind completing a degree is it's a fulfillment for our parent more so.
Yeah.
Education's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm all about getting degrees, so.
It was just one of those things, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm here now. Like, I finally am graduating.
Yeah.
I'm going to move to LA because, for one, like I said, I always wanted to go there. I knew, like, okay, like, I'm so big in my business right now. Like, it can only go up if I go there, right? Because now I can be around my manufacturers, like, the brands. Like, I did so much research. Like, again, I used to go on the bus to New York.
Yeah. I don't see how you chose LA over New York.
Well, we can talk about that later because I can tell you a million things why. But I just was like, I'm going to go do that. Like, I'm going to go live a new life. Like, I want to explore. Like, I'm always trying to grow. I'm always trying to be better. Like, I want to see what else is out there. Like, I love Maryland because that's one thing about me. I love Maryland.
Yeah, I think this is the best area.
I do too.
I think so. I would say, maybe I'm biased, I would say in the country.
I'm not biased to that. I can wholeheartedly agree. As like, because people think like, oh, everyone hates Maryland. They're moving. It's like, no, I'm moving because I want to experience life. Absolutely. You don't experience life by staying in the same places and doing the same things. That's not how you grow. Like, you literally have to get out and go and do other things. Whether that's just even traveling to different countries. Because you don't have to necessarily move, but like at least travel, see how other people are living. So it was like that for me. And once I got there, I was like, whoa, like I always tell people all the time, LA is like a walking Instagram explore page. Everything that you see on Instagram, it's literally in front of you. Like once I started living there, like I watch movies and I'm like, oh, I know where that is. I'm like, oh, that's it's so familiar because I lived there for about 3.5 years. Do you get what I'm saying? I thank God for that. Again, let's talk about, because God is always going to be involved. It was very hard. When I got there, it was very, very hard. Like, it was not easy. Like,
you're not the only person that says
like
that
it is very hard. Like, and for me, like, I like enjoyment, and you can't have enjoyment without money. It didn't matter how much money I had saved when I went there. I always needed more money, and I'm like, look, I got a job again that degree that I didn't want to get, I can't lie.
Yeah.
That degree I didn't want to get allowed me to be a teacher. So, I was teaching and I got my job pretty fast, right?
Yes.
I got it within a month.
In that arena. Like, I feel like God, like, he always, like, with jobs, that's the thing. Like, you get jobs quickly and they're decent jobs.
But you want to know something for me? I can say that it's a certain type of job that he gives me, right? Because I would apply for jobs and I think I went so good and it was just not for me. That's how I knew I had to be in education because I know I do good interviews. Yes. I've had the work, I have it, but he put me in education. I didn't put myself, I didn't want to. I did not think I wanted to be a teacher. Like, that was never on my mind. Yeah. But God literally, that month, I was like, after a month, he put me in education. And only from there, I continued to grow. Yeah. It was like a charter school, and I worked at both of the campuses. Yeah. Like, they were asking me to work at another campus. Like, and when I moved back home, I had got another job at education. Wow. And I just wasn't on my mind, but like, that's the whole thing with God.
Educator.
Yeah, and
that's one element or one side of you as an educator.
Yeah, and I had to figure that out. So that happened. I like, okay, now I'm a teacher. I'm like, bet now I can finally go to my manufacturers. Like, I could finally feel the fabric. Yes. Because it's very hard. See, the thing about New York, right? They don't have everything LA has. I mean, LA has it all to the depth of like, that whole train, subway, bus business is not for me. I go drive to the fashion district and I go handle my business. Okay. And just being a part of that whole merchandising lifestyle is very, very cool. It was very cool. It was very exciting for me. I made the most money I've ever made in my brand in LA. Wow. And that's why I was like, that's so crazy to me, but then it makes sense.
Boutique.
Yeah, because it makes sense. I was like, well, I'm finally where I need to be to build my brand, and that's what I really wanted to do. I was like, wanted to build my brand, and then I was just living life. Like I was like, you'd be in like Walgreens, they see a celebrity. Like you see a celebrity everywhere.
Celebrity for sure.
Everywhere you see celebrities.
It's just a weird city for me. I'm sorry for all you LAers. I just can't get with it. I'm more of a New York girl, and I think it's just because it's a personality thing. Yeah. I like the hustle and bustle of New York, in particular Brooklyn. Like, I just love New York itself. The grind, the hustle, the dirty, the train. Yeah. I can get down with that. I think it's a really cool city.
I mean, we know you. You know you.
I love and then you could turn up, have a good time. So yeah,
I think I love and then it was like, okay, the beaches too, right? And the weather. I'm not a fan of the snow. I don't care about 4 seasons in Maryland. I love Maryland. I don't care about the 4 seasons.
Okay.
Like, I love the fact that like I would go to like a rooftop before I went to work. Yeah. Like, I'd have to be at work sometime. Like, all right, well, I'm going to a rooftop and then I'm gonna go to work. Like, that's like the vibe was like heavy with that. Like, just having good weather. But like, I agree. Like, LA, once you live there for a while, then you start to be like, you start to appreciate like home, right? Because you're like, for me, that's another reason why I started cooking there. Because I was like, the food, somebody's gonna hate me. I don't really care. The food wasn't that great to me. Like, it wasn't. I had like a solid 5 spots out of a whole. California is big. Only 5 spots really hit it for me, and other than that, I was not impressed. Wasn't impressed with the food. And then that's like a big thing for me, right? That's why I had to cook. I cook like all the time. Yeah. Like, I probably cooked more at home than I went out, even though I went out to eat a lot. But that's just me trying stuff. But I cooked more at home because
you're such a foodie.
I am.
She's slim and sexy. She's such a foodie.
I thank God for my metabolism because I don't know when it's gonna start.
Don't get too carried away. That joint will creep up on you.
I see my sister. I said, well, I see how it's going for you. I said, well, let me see how long mine is gonna last.
Well, keep at it. Yeah. Enjoy it while you can.
Food. It was just, and then like, even like the environments, right? Like, I seen homeless people. I've been around homeless people. Obviously, there's homeless people. But I mean, I live downtown.
Skid Row.
Oh. Every day I left my house, there was a homeless person outside. Every day. There was never a day I did not see a homeless person.
That's so unsettling.
And then it just even makes you sad because like, it's like, because I was like, people always wonder like, why is LA such a big place? And I always remind people like, it is a city of dreams. Like, you have universities, like you have so many big corporate businesses in LA. People go there because they want to chase their dreams. And unfortunately for other people, it does not work out. So you're homeless in a place that has good weather. Imagine being homeless in a cold city. Like, it doesn't, you know what I'm saying? It does.
Do you want to be homeless in? Be homeless
LA,
in that city.
They have their little towns, and like that was I hated that. I hated the homelessness. Like, it was just very, it wasn't giving me I wasn't feeling fulfilled there. Like after a while, I think it became like, again, for me, I would say it was like a good phase in my life. Like it was me doing what I wanted to do, and then I was moving to my next chapter.
What do you think the biggest lesson you learned in LA was?
Definitely be true to yourself. You need to know yourself. You cannot go there and not know yourself. And I've seen it. I've seen people who, away. I mean, their lives are destroyed because, Jesus. Like, you know, there's drugs. People, that whole, like, chasing celebrity lifestyle is not good for you because you don't amount to it. Unless you're getting paid, what are you amounting to? And people force it, and I don't force anything. Like, I've been in vicinities where, like, that's cool to me, but, like, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't move me. And people not knowing yourself is very dangerous out there because it leads to destruction. People are overdosing on drugs. You're doing things that are not normal, that you shouldn't be doing. Like, you have to really know yourself. And I thank God for that. I said, thank God I knew myself, that I wasn't, like, easily swayed.
I think the biggest thing or the most beautiful thing about you is you've always been like that since you were young. You've known who you are. There was a aura of confidence to you at a young age that's kind of always stayed with you, and that worked to your benefit when you went to LA.
I said that too because I was like, I don't know, that I didn't, again, like, I would see a lot of people have to go home because, like, you need to have the work ethic. Like, I tell people now, they're like, oh, you moved back home, and I said, have peace. I am well rested. And there wasn't a day like, I worked Monday to Sunday. I work every day. I'm working. I have 3 different businesses. Like, not only do I go to work, I now do my own businesses. So that was important to me. Like, you know, if you want to enjoy me, you need to make money. I'm sorry, like, yes, God will provide, but you have to do the work. You have to do the work. No, you have to work. And you have to work hard. And I worked hard, and, like, I got to enjoy. But it was like, now I'm like, all right, I'm in a new chapter. You just know when you're about to go to a new chapter.
And that's what I learned a lot about people who live in LA. They don't stay there forever. Well, Patrice, P, one of my best girls. Come on, P.
I was cooking for her over there too.
P.
I
think she wants to be back home because she loves New York too.
Yeah. Oh, I remember she did live in New York.
Yeah, but anywho, let's talk about bringing it back to the East Coast.
Yeah.
What was the driving force behind that and that epiphany? And you don't have to get too granular if you don't want to, but just the overall, like, motivating force behind you moving back to the East Coast and moving back home to Maryland.
So I'm like, now I'm like, all right. I want, like, more. I always want more, and I'm like, LA is okay. It is okay. Like, it's a vibe, but I'm trying to buy a house now. Now I'm thinking more. I'm starting to, my mind is, like, maturing. Like, I want to buy a house now.
Yes.
I'm, like, ready to now settle down. I'm looking to really start my family very soon. And home, I already knew I was going to move back to Maryland. Like, I knew that. I just didn't know when, but I was like, it's going to be time for me to move back home. And so, like, I'm like, I could start now. Like, I make my plans and I go along with, and like I said, whatever God wants me to do is going to happen. I knew it was what I was supposed to do because to move here was I didn't, not even one rocky road, not even one bump. Like, even to my lease, like, they're like, okay, you can leave. They're like, you can leave. I was like, just make this payment. You can go. I said, usually with the lease, you have to do a lot. And the lady, I love that lady so much. She's so kind, but, like, they really, like, genuinely, like, were like, yeah, it's fine. Like, I was like, I want to move back home to Maryland. Like, it's not for me here. I'm ready to go. And, like, from my leasing office to just
you're paying last month's rent for
all that, and they were like, that lady was like, you're just such a good tenant. Like, she was such a mate, and I'm like, yeah, because, you know, it's expensive. Yes, it really does. And, like, it was just a beautiful thing because, like, I started to feel excited too. I'm like, it was just random. I'm like, okay, my mom, and then thinking about my parents, right? That was another thing too. Like, my parents are, like, getting older, and I always think, like, when I talk to them and I come visit, I'm like, you know, like, wow, like, they're really getting older, and if I don't spend enough time with them, God, you know, I need to spend time with my parents. Like, I feel like I need to be more at home, be around at home, and, like, it showed me when I came back home, I needed to be here. Like, family, you know, our family is like, family is so important. And once I, like, started to pick those things up, and I'm like, okay, I'm trying to do more in my life, you know, and then I found, like, God put me to education because, again, when I came back, I applied. I told you, I literally applied the week before. There goes the price point I was telling you about. I wrote it down. I said, this is how much I wanted to get paid. The following week, I got the job and I got paid exactly what I wanted. I mean, like, you can't, you gotta follow when God talks to you. Because had I was like, I mean, I could have just stayed in LA, but then would my life be as peaceful and as happy as I am now? I don't think so.
I think you, not saying it, I think you would have kind of still been struggling.
Yeah, because it's like, I work. Like, I have fun. Like, you know, social media is funny because, like, yeah, you have fun, but at the same time, it's like, I work hard. And
that's social media, man.
It's not a very serious place. It's not a very serious place.
Even like, because I'm new to this.
Yeah.
It's just such a weird place. I was telling Lola, I was telling Lomina, I was telling everybody, like, I think social media is such, I was telling my sister, I was like, yo, this social media thing is not real. It's so fake.
Yeah.
It's just weird to me, but I have to use it.
It's necessary.
It's necessary. The only reason I'm on there is because of Ahmet.
Yeah, I know. I always tell everybody she's cool in real life. Yeah. Every time I meet her, I'm like, she's cool in real life because you are. Like, you're so fun. Like, you have such a great personality. We always laugh, and I'm like, "Where's Yasne?" I'm like, "Let's go out. Like, call Yasne because you really have that, and like, you don't need social media to validate that at all. And that's why I respect, because like, yeah, you're coming because you have something that you want to bring to a platform, and that platform is Instagram or, you know, your podcast, like what you're doing, and you need that for your brand. Yeah. This is the new age of promotion and making money. It's coming from being on these apps. So I'm just like, yeah, you just gotta do, for me, you do what you gotta do, then go. Yeah. Don't stay on there too long, because that's when you start looking at stuff, and a lot of people are not living true to their life. Absolutely. Again, living in LA, I saw things and I was like, this person. When I find myself scrolling a little too much, I say, yeah. Things are not what they look like. You will be surprised how people are living. But that's also the importance of knowing yourself, which we talked about a little bit earlier, like knowing yourself, knowing your worth, knowing who you truly are, and staying true to yourself. Yeah. I think once you have that mindset, you'll be fine. You'll be good to go. And you're not waved by any of what you see. Yeah. You know what it is. You know who you are. So because it can get discouraging. Yeah. You can go online. Like, I mean, I'm honest. I could see something like, I really wanted to do that. And then I'd be a little bit sad, but that's not like, no, actually, no, I didn't need to do that. But you realize, like, maybe that wasn't for you. Like, you just have to accept that. Like, that's like a very, that's actually the devil trying to confuse you. Yes. That is why they say the devil will confuse you. That is it. That's why you have to be careful on social media, because it really is like, you'll be thinking something like how, but then it's like, no. And then again, you don't know how people are getting these things or getting to where they need to. Like, so all in all, you're back on the East Coast. We thank God. I'm so glad that you're back in town. I think this is going to be a new season for you. Yeah. New, just like, greatness is your portion. Amen. So amen. You'll be good in that arena. Let's talk about words of advice you would give your 21-year-old self based on what you know today. So words of affirmation, advice, anything that you would be like, look, Shay, XYZ, or man, definitely. God is a big part of my life, and he's become such an even bigger part of my life as I got older, because like, once you like start to really ground yourself in God and like pray a lot, like he really reveals a lot of things to you. And I feel like making God like my priority. Yeah. Like, of course, like I was always like praying, I was like going to church, but I wasn't as active. You know, I could have been doing way more. Yeah. I could have been praying more. I could have been putting myself in better places, like putting God first in your life and listening to him. Yes. And not going based off. Yeah, no. So you have to listen. Literally. Like, because moving off of your own is how you start to go on a path that you don't get to see the glory when you listen to yourself, right? There's so many things I could have avoided had I just listened to God and just did what I was supposed to do the first time, or moved in that way. And I can say that now, right? Because I'm older. I've seen it. I've seen God work miracles in my life. Things got me out of places and things that I shouldn't have been. Like, you know, like I don't know where I would be without God right now. Wow. Like, listening to God, like, have those friends around you that like are spiritual. I mean, like, I know like there are people that can really turn you off away from God, but just really find somewhere, or find a place, or find a church, and those people that are on your level, you know what I'm saying? People that are moving like you, like, or someone that is more spiritual than you that can actually like help you, right? Because that's what the type of people that you need. You need people to pray for you. You might not come from a household where people are praying. You go find God, because God is always there. He never left you, but he's always there. But you have to also seek him. So don't think that if you're not seeking God, okay, I'm gonna just pray and then go live my life anyhow. No. That's not how it works. Like, you really have to be grounded. You need to listen. You need to read your word. I was like that too. I wasn't really reading my Bible. Like, I would read it, but then again, you have to read and understand the Bible to really feel and understand the Holy Spirit. Like, you have to be a part of that, and that comes with growth. That comes with age. I feel like, you know, God can hit you anytime. You don't have to like get older to find like, oh, I'm gonna go to church. Like, no, because you're only destroying yourself.
Absolutely.
Like, so I would definitely say God is a big part. And if you're not spiritual, you need to get into your word and also just pray, right? Just ask God to show you. He will show you. Every time I ask God to show me something, he shows me in ways I'm like, you know, this is only God. I mean, I sometimes like, why did you have to show me like this? Like, you know,
you asked and you shall receive.
And you shall receive. Like, and that's a big thing. And again, so God, know yourself. Don't be swayed by other people. People think that they know you. People can project on you and be like, but you're this type of person. It's like, no, I'm not. You can't tell me who I am.
Wow.
And I feel like it's another thing. Hearing people project on you, telling you who you are, I am not that person. And you have to say that. And you have to speak over your life like, no, I'm not that person. Because people can speak things over your life and then you start to believe it. And they're not always positive things.
Yeah, the power of the tongue.
Yeah, it's very powerful. Like, those are things that, those are like, even to my students, I tell them all the time, don't say that about yourself.
Wow.
Like, whenever they're like, oh, I'm so dumb. And I'm like, no, you're not. You just don't understand. That doesn't mean that you're dumb.
Wow.
You have to, because kids hear stuff. And if I'm a teacher and I'm telling them they're dumb, they can't read. Like, when they get older, that's going to be sit with them. They're not going to want to read out loud. I make all my students read out loud. Read out loud. Even if you don't think it, read. Because I've seen adults that can barely read. They can barely read. And I know it's stem from, I'm sure people tell them they couldn't read. Those things are like so important to me.
I'm so proud hearing you talk. I feel like a mother. Shay's a little bit younger, not a little bit, about 7-8 years younger than us. But I'm so proud of the women, like the woman you've evolved into. Just hearing you speak, you're so smart and you're so witty and you're so funny. And oh God, I'm so glad that you came on today. Let's take it to the last segment of the pod. It's a little funner. Let's talk about what's on repeat. So what are we listening to this week or at any given time? Like, what are we bopping to?
I have so many.
Okay.
It's so hard because like I go from like my Afrobeat stuff. Y'all want to know something? There's some good Christian rap out there.
Yeah. Oh my God.
There's this guy named Caleb Gordon.
Her like playlist.
Christian
playlist.
I'm gonna send you one. It gives you R&B. Like it literally. This is how funny the world is. We could all be listening to the same music. They have that same vibe. We're talking about the same thing. We will still vibe the same way. But Caleb Gordon, Evidence. That's my song. I'm gonna play it for you later. Okay. Fire. Okay. I'm gonna send you the whole playlist. I like a Zumba. I be on a Zumba, by the way. Yeah, I love that song. I mean, that song sits with me. And then of course, Arya Starr, Kill My Vibe, like those songs. Anything. I'm like a drive. Yeah. Like I like music that's gonna like. There are just so many music. I listen to like UK rap. Yeah.
That's my thing.
That's what my sister said. I started playing One Asians, like one of my favorite UK artists, and she was like, "You and Yasin are the same." Yes, I was like, "You don't get it. It just hits different."
It's so vibey. Yeah, it's different. People like we don't even hear what they're saying. Clearly.
I mean, their accent is not that bad.
It's not that bad.
Yeah.
But on rotation for me this week is David O. Unavailable. I'm trying to learn that dance. That's been on heavy rotation this week. The whole CD, but more so that song. It's really good, really catchy. But yeah, that's what I'm listening to this week.
Yeah, he just came with that project. I didn't listen to it yet too, but I heard his project was. I think they were saying that this is one of his best projects.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's solid.
But you want to know something? Made in Lagos can always stay on for me.
Yes.
I can play that.
That ain't make it feel right. Come on, Shay.
You know my salsa. That one, I can listen to that from top to bottom. Made in Lagos can always be a vibe. That's just a really chill. It's very, very good album.
Made in Lagos is such a vibe.
Yeah, I love that.
We got to get you on to talk about our Dirty December.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a good story.
That's when I realized, dang, I missed out. Shay is that whole trip. Shay had me dying.
We had so much fun.
Yeah, that's an episode for another day. Yeah. But thank you so much for coming on, Shay. Yeah. I appreciate you. It was worth the wait. Your hair looks good.
Thank you.
Good. It was worth it. Thank you so much for everyone tuning in to this episode of The Unmet Expectation. Please make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Tell a friend and tell a friend. Please, we need more viewers. We need emails to come in. Send in your dilemmas, your questions to theunmetexpectation@gmail.com. Everything will be in the description box below. Shay's information will be in the description box below. And that's it.
Yeah. I love this. This is fun.
You.
Until next time.
Bye, y'all.